the GAC or the LACC to investigate. It is a crime. The legislature does not have the statutory responsibility to investigate it. We do not have any authority to declare a matter a crime. Only the Ministry of Justice, the LACC, and the GAC can do that. Therefore, those who don't have the right to call a crime must be allowed to investigate and come back to us and tell us whether or not it was a crime. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just to elaborate on the issue of I did not listen to the Minister of Finance last night. And as a member of the Senate, I can say for sure Tapa will never vote up there. What I know is that we give money to LAC, we never give money to Tapa. There's no record in the Senate, there's no record in the Senate journal that will say that Tapa was in the budget. I did not listen to the Minister of Finance. The Minister of Finance said that even gave more reason why they should. I want an investigation, independent investigation. I'm very open to that. But what I want to say is joining Mr. Belede and calling on police in the Senate and the entire legislature, including the Speaker, is that this matter is a serious matter. This matter should be investigated. There should be no budget discussion until the matter is resolved. That is the way to go. And I want to believe that the pro tem will do the best she needs to do. She has started on the path of a reform in the Senate. If we are moving power, we got to move power with new determination to make sure that things are done the right way. There has to be a change in the budget discussion. I don't disagree with Mr. Belede. I want an investigation. I want an independent investigation. But the Senate first of all needs to establish that there's a need for an investigation, and the leadership and the Senate plenary will make a decision to transfer whether or not to transfer the investigation to LACC. But that would be a good thing. We want independent, impartial investigation so that whoever did what, let them know, let our friend know something has gone wrong. If you let the president go, he said executive manipulated the budget. Now the finance minister say, no, we were not the one that manipulated the budget, with their budget realignment. I don't know what they call realignment in budget. Even in the legislature, from our little man knowledge, we just end up about the problem here is, like Mr. Belede, Honorable Belede said, if there's a disagreement between the Senate and the House, there has to be a conference committee to resolve on the disagreement. So even if the executive realized there was a mistake in the budget should have come back to the legislature for that correction to be made. They had no authority to go and do realignment of the budget. We don't know. When you do realignment, we don't know what realignment is. Or you start shifting budget, you start shifting figures to non-area that the legislature appropriated budget to, you start to do that. That is a problem. We want an investigation. We are determined the investigation must happen. And we want to assure this body that we will not stop until there is an investigation. Their matter will not be swept under the carpet. It will be thoroughly investigated, executive involved. And let's be clear, people want to politicize this thing. We have not, this is a matter between the executive, especially the Ministry of Finance, and the legislature. The president has nothing to do with it. We're not accusing the president. People want to politicize that. There's the one minister who tried to politicize the discussion. I don't know why you say that when you call for investigation, people are getting angry. People are investigating, the government is investigating people. When you say investigate, people in the government angry with you. They say you should not talk about investigation. You don't have the moral ground to talk about investigation, but yet and they are investigating past government officials. But current government official commits something or a legislator commits something. Because they don't investigate. When you don't investigate, they don't bring investigation yet. So what are we doing? What kind of country we want to run? And I think the president himself will take interest in the debate. Because I'm quite sure he himself is very confused about things he is hearing about budget being manipulated. I don't want to imagine before. People will come and get to sign a budget. What a minister of finance don't what is it going to do? What the leader do? What that's going to do? The budget before the president signs it. I agree with the ability. The call for independent investigation is a good thing to go, but the first place, the leadership or the plenary of the both or the leadership now, since we're not in session, we have to take charge and make sure an investigation is necessary. The path of the investigation will be determined by the leadership or the plenary. Correct? We don't have to wait for the executive call back. We can call ourselves back and say, you know what? Let this thing be discussed. Because when come in, somebody called and said, "Ready calling the account." Recast on what basis? What will recasting? The president said, I think the premise for a recall has been determined. But the fact that there are accusations from both lawmakers and members of the executive, specifically Ministry of Finance people, not saying the budget was tempered with necessary. So I want to thank you on this note. On the other note, we want to also condemn the fact that people in this country have a right to freedom of speech, and people should not be dismissed because of expressing their opinion. The thing the CFA director is assuming unto himself power that he does not have. In fact, CSD was created in 1986 by constitutional amendment, correct? 1986 constitutional, but CSD, correct? CSD. One of the commission, election commission, GSC, and the CSD, or the three commissions were created by the Constitution. Now it means that the legislature need to give authority to the CSD. So maybe we need to start looking at the CSD law to give the power and authority to the CSD. Probably the young brother CSD is assuming authority and does not have going around firing people all over the place. I have to say as a rapport. I know they will discuss that, but what is important today? The issue of the budget. The issue of the budget. Senator, one of the senator of Magibie and the senator of Liberia have a special concern, or we have a special concern. This issue has to be dealt with in the appropriate manner and disposed of in the appropriate manner. Then we can proceed with debates of the budget.
So truth telling would be the hallmark of our leadership. And because we want everybody who works with us to fall in line with that culture of truth telling, we now encourage people to give information that is not correct. We didn't bring you outside because we want code. We brought you outside because the people who are fixing our building for the very genesis did not do a good work, and the conference room is still leaking. That is why we are here. And I think I have an obligation to be truthful to you. I didn't bring you out here because of coach. Before I call our colleague from the LRRC, just a few issues. President Boubacar issued an executive order creating an office for the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court. The office was to some extent set up because the president named the head of the office. Since that action took place, there has been a national discourse as to what the public thinks about the action. The discourse also took international dimension. And of course, our national orator was pointed in expressing what she thinks about the process that has evolved so far. Based on all the conversations that we've listened to, the government decided to take a stance that would make the process to be evolving. So much so that our people would take ownership of a process that is supposed to bring closure to all the concern about impunity after we fought a brutal civil war. So the executive order issued by the president establishing that office remains in force. But what we've chosen to do is to move a step further, and that is to accept that we need to be more consultative, we need to be more evolving to ensure that the people of Liberia and some of our external actors who are supposed to help to drive this process feel comfortable with this process. And because there is a sense of sincerity on what we want to achieve as a result of the process, it's not for politics, it's not for gimmicks. The government chose to have a listening ear. And so the decision has been taken that will reconstitute the structure that runs the office for the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court. And I want to state that this decision stems from our desire to ensure that the process leading to the establishment or the constitution of the actors in the office for the War and Economic Crimes Court is open, broad-based, and ensure public scrutiny. As a result of that, the President has announced a search and vetting committee that will include the following institutions: the Ministry of Justice as chair, a representative from the National Civil Society Council of Liberia, a national NGO that works on transitional justice, a representative from the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, a representative from the United Nations, the Independent National Commission on Human Rights, the Liberian National Bar Association, the Interreligious Council of Liberia, and a representative from the African Union's mission to Liberia. The Search and Vetting Committee will, within 21 days after the establishment, which begins today, recommend to the President 3 candidates of proven integrity, knowledgeable of the Liberian Constitution and criminal law, and capable of working with the international community and the Liberian public in developing the appropriate mechanisms, procedures, and processes attending the establishment of the Office for the Establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court. On Tuesday, August 6, 2024, the acting executive governor of the Central Bank of Liberia, Mr. Henry F. Samoa, brought to the attention of the Internal Audit Department a real-time gross settlement transaction from the Central Bank of Liberia to the International Bank of Liberia. The amount involved in the transaction is $961,777 United States dollars, intended for onward transfer to a beneficiary account at SRB. Acting Executive Governor Samoa commissioned an investigation into the transaction led by the Internal Audit Department and determined that the nature in which the transaction was initiated, authorized, and subsequently transferred could have defrauded the government of Liberia. It could have also brought the Central Bank of Liberia to a potential risk of repayment in the amount of $961,777. The internal audit investigated the procedures and controls surrounding the reversal of the transaction relating to the GAL revenue account and the associated risk. Based on the internal CBL investigation, the amount of 961,777 was processed without evidence of approval of senior management of the banking department of the journal entry ticket as required by the banking department manual. The intended beneficiary account established at the International Bank in 2018 has been credited with comparatively small amounts in the past. The General Auditing Commission, in its recent report of the CBL, captured the company that is said to have owned the account of being paid $55,000 without any evidence of any work performed. 3 staff of the banking department are currently in police detention, ongoing investigation. Meanwhile, the investigation continues, and the executive governor, Mr. Henry Samoa, has commissioned a full audit of the central bank's real-time gross settlement transaction to determine compliance with policies. The press and the Liberian people will be updated as more information becomes available regarding the investigation. At the Ministry of Information yesterday, we received a visiting delegation under the banner of the Media Foundation for West Africa, and they were accompanied by the head of the Center for Media Studies and Peace Building. Members of that delegation included Suleimani Ibrahima, who is the Executive Director of the Media Foundation, Raymond Aite, Program Manager of the same foundation, Professor Kwame Karikari, board member of the group, and Christopher Isigozo. They also include the president of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, and of course they were brought forth by Michael Joseph. We discussed the media landscape in Liberia. There are classification of different countries as far as the media is concerned. Yes, out of the media is considered free, partially free, and not free at all. Liberia is considered to be in the partially free category. One commitment I've made to them as the Minister of Information, that we wanted to know all of the hurdles stopping us from being fully free. And that we assure them once we know those hurdles, if there's any legacy we want to leave behind, is to ensure that under our stewardship, Liberia gets elevated from that partially free status to a fully free society as far as the media and its operation is concerned. And because we take their visit to be very serious and important, at 4 o'clock today, I will lead them to meet with the president at the executive mansion. Prior to coming within the cabinet, we've intentionally taken the decision to now be very regular in holding cabinet meetings so that we are able to look at all of the contending and attending issues that are evolving daily. So we decided to focus today's cabinet on domestic revenue mobilization, with the LRA being the main actor. The LRA is on record that they have the capacity to ensure that our budget will reach in the billion. But there are contending action that we must take as a government to assist them achieve that. So we wanted them to drive us through, make a presentation of where they are, give us a picture of what they need, seek the endorsement of cabinet, and once they get the endorsement and those steps are sanctioned, they assure that all that is required to ensure that the budget reaches that point will be achieved. Cabinet also took time out to look at the issue of coordination generally not just with association with communication. There are instances where sometimes the temptation of fighting tough battle can lead to other agencies overshadowing or crossing over to the functions of other entities. As a responsible government, we want to make sure that that doesn't happen. So the special presentation was meant to ensure the cabinet agrees on the mechanism that ensures that we are working in a way though complementing each other, but that keeps people basically in their lane. And in our opinion, it was a very successful cabinet. It's still on. I had to be excused because of this press conference. The government's agency that is responsible for petroleum exploration and licensing in Liberia, which is the Liberia Petroleum Regulatory Authority, made some pronouncement. They announced the official launch of the 2024 licensing rounds for hydrocarbon exploration and development within our offshore basin. They have indicated that the rounds offer unique opportunities for international and domestic companies to engage in the exploration of 29 offshore blocks within Liberia, especially in the Harper Basin, encompassing both deep offshore and shallow water blocks. According to the LPRA, this round of exploration is designed to attract companies with the technical expertise and financial capacity to responsibly explore and develop these significant national resources. We'd just like to make comment on one final issue. And the way I want to address this issue is to start with a number of rhetorical questions. If there are employees of the Ministry of Information, where RPs are, they wake up in the morning, they insult the President pro tem, they insult the Speaker of the House of Representatives, they insult the Chief Justice and Associate Justices of the Supreme Court. But they are in public service. They are in my ministry. I guess someone somewhere is saying it's okay. Someone somewhere says it's freedom of speech, freedom of expression. Someone somewhere would think that because it is not them, then it's okay. But I'd like to remind everybody who's concerned about what is happening as to what the Civil Service Standing Order says with regards to the conduct of individuals who work in the public service, especially Chapter 4, Section 4.22 of the Civil Service Standing Order. And it says, anyone working in the public service with conducts unbecoming of an employee in the public sector, as outlined in Chapter 4, Section 4.2 of the Standing Order, qualified for dismissal. And for those of you who've been at the Information Ministry for long, there's a precedent here that I can remind you about. Petusie was here as Minister of Information. I was one of his deputy ministers. The president, at the time, President Stanley, dismissed him and appointed me as the acting Minister of Information. And just on account that Mr. Sie has been dismissed, an employee of this ministry sent him a nasty text message that I cannot read to you because of his insulting nature. As the acting Minister of Information, then, with reliance on the Civil Service Standing Order, I dismissed him. He reached out to the CSA and made a request for unlawful dismissal. The CSA conducted hearings. I shared with them the message he sent to the former minister. The CSA upheld the dismissal because it was an act unbecoming of a person in the public sector. Each of us got independent opinions. Our politics may be different. And somebody like me, I don't care about people's politics. And you can ask the question here. I inherited the office of the Minister of Information. Everybody working in our office currently were brought here by my predecessors. One group brought by Ledger running, another group brought by Eugene. Now, but they all stayed in the office. And find out whether I have removed a single one of them because of a thought process that did not from the same party that I. They stayed there. People have come to me here day after day since I took over this ministry. This one was a sedition who were threatening people. This one was saying this. The other director that CDC put a drawing that is supposed to be removed. I have not removed one. All the directors are still directors, except for procurement, because the director there went to Maritime as the chief of staff to Nitolai. So for that, it was a created vacancy that had to be filled. Every other place you got people, they're there and they have their political views. They got their right to affiliation. After work hour, they can even go to their party headquarters, whatever party they belong to. The only restriction is the entity is not a political grounds. Do your political thing to your party headquarters. Keep your party identity. When you come here as a public sector. That's how we want to see it. So no, it's not acceptable that somebody in the public sector can conduct themselves in a certain way, because the law requires that when you do that which is considered act unbecoming of a person in the public sector, there are repercussions. CSA has briefed us that the individuals involved had the necessary actions that are required by the law. Some of them have gotten warning letters before and encouraged to have their political view, but not to be openly insulting leaders. They chose not to listen. And rather than us politicizing these things, there's always remedy under the law. The law says if somebody in the public sector is dismissed, and you feel that it's a wrongful dismissal or illegal dismissal, it says make a formal complaint that you were unlawfully dismissed. The necessary due processes will take place. And if it is determined that you were unlawfully, there have been instances where I got a letter here now about somebody who was dismissed in the last 6 years. The CSA has determined that the person was wrongfully dismissed, and they've written me to reinstate them. In that case, it's a law. And I respect the law. So when people disagree with action against them, take solace in the law and not vain unnecessary threats. In fact, it will interest you to know that, for example, the letter in my hand was written January 29, 2020, dismissing a public servant would the reliance be the same as you violated Chapter 4, Section 2.2 of the Standing Order. And guess what the reason was? Based on your constant involvement in spreading insults and threats at public officials via social media. The letter is here. And some of the things that the people who've been dismissed now for are dismissed for is not what the person did. And the records are there, we all see it, but it happened. I asked both the MCC and CSA, and with what not necessarily wanting to give to you. They did a scrupulous job before they took their action. These are the insulting social media activities of the individuals who are involved. Insulting the president, terrible women calls and other things, insulting his wife. That's not politics. That's not freedom of speech. They didn't jump from the sky and take an action. It's evidence-based. If there are people who feel aggrieved, follow what the law says. Go and file a complaint for unlawful dismissal. The system will give you a chance to exonerate yourself. I think these are the issues I wanted to talk about.
But thank God it's Friday. And Friday, as it's often said, is for everybody. And I'm privileged, I'm humbled that I'm a live encounter amongst the living. It's not my right or privilege afforded me this morning to be alive, to do what I'm called to do, and doing it to the best of my ability. It's what I opt for every time the opportunity is afforded me. So greatly this morning, we say good morning to all of you wherever you are. Please bear with me for the poor quality of my voice, but it's going to get better. But what we want to do this morning, we're going to have a Lean by Friday. It's going to be more of education. We're going to be providing more education on things that we need to know relative to our constitutional rights, our responsibilities as citizens, the roles and responsibility of our government to the citizens, the roles and responsibility of citizens to government and nation. These are things we're going to be looking at and chatting on and bringing in some national issues as a case study. My name is Rufus Divine Cannon. I lead another follow, Press among equals. Of course, I'm destined for greatness. I'm with you this morning up to 10 o'clock on your most informative and reliable program, The Positive Show. That creates equal opportunity regardless of your ethnicity, regardless of your political beliefs. We create a level playing field to elevate the discourse. It has to do with the growth and development of Liberia and Liberians and our relationship with our foreign partners. So on this program, we are clubbed with the responsibility as responsible institution and responsible journalists to safeguard the airwaves from invectives, safeguard the airwaves from things that will cause chaos and send our country into the dark days. God forbid, we won't allow that to happen. Liberians are all out, putting their broken pieces together after the 14-year civil unrest. We've come a long way, though we are not where we want to be, but we're not where we used to be. So with all that we have, with all that we do, we pledge our allegiance to the country that we cannot be deported from. So let us uphold and defend the integrity of the motherland, because the motherland would never fall. On this Friday, we bring you the flight schedules from the Roberts International Airport, departures and arrivals. We'll take you through the traffic update. We provide for you detours and hotspots relative to our traffic in Monrovia and its suburbs. We begin our talking points, allow you to wade in, chip in commercials, entertain you as well, and provide you those basic information that you need to know. But because we know that information is as important as food, water, shelter, and medication, it's our obligation as a media institution. One would say our social corporate responsibility as a media institution to provide the level playing field so that you form part of the discussion that matters to the growth and development of our country. Good morning. If you're celebrating your birthday, whatever the occasion is, we say celebrate in grand style. If you have celebrated, it's better late than never. To those who are mourning the loss of their loved ones, we say take solace in the Lord. Those that are lying in a hospital or wherever you find yourself on the bed of affliction, I've come to encourage you. That sickness is not unto your death. God will glorify himself, okay? So like we always say, in motivating you, When you wake up in the morning, see the dawn of a new day, get on your knees and say, oh man, thank you. Like the Basel man will say, Apa glipa blend, that in young way. Ponzo glipa. Ponzo young we conyon. Ponzo blend no more. This is how we do it right here on the Positive Show this morning. The best of our team. When we come back, we roll our commercials and get to do the things that matters. Welcome.
Basharu African soldier. Basharu, you the African soldier. Can I come the African soldier? About the Kunde African soldier. African soldier, show your power. Show your power, free your people now. From economic assets, assist your people. From political nonsense, we listen your people. From economic rubbish, assist your people now. From political yabbies, assist your people. From economic jargon, attention African soldiers. Lala Sikasi.
Get to my picture, I can tell it for Momo. Don't worry. Anything you do a Momo, you will get one. Anything you do a Momo, you will get one. Momo that baby, no. Momo that cheche, Momo that cheche, Momo that baby, no.
Ladies and gentlemen, your famous Yuka Rental Services have bounced back with renewed vigor. Yuka Rental Services offers round-town services as well as out-of-town services with our fully air-conditioned vehicles. Yuka Rental Services have the best drivers in town that can take you anywhere you desire in a relaxed manner. We also have in our fleets several limousines under the Shatta Limousine Services. Our services are good and our prices are affordable. We are located on 10th Street in Cinco in the Technology Building on the land side. For reservation, call these numbers 0880 692184 or 0770 560560. When it is Yuka Rental Services, it got to be good, reliable, and relaxing.
My testimony. The way things going, and looking like 2024 that so enjoyment. Loser said MTN Jack giving, yeah. The people can't get tired. Momo Wese was that La Pro biggest giveaway is back. And this time they reward 2 plated jelly and ring. I said just to my nearest, let me tell you all the prizes you can win. Keke, motorbike wheeling, helmet, everything, brand new smartphone, smart TV, generator, bags of rice, and the last one over a 4 more. A brand new 2-bedroom house. Wow. The only thing that people say you must do to win, get that star 156 hash and use your Momo to buy airtime and data, send money to friends and family people, pay your bills, pay for small thing like gas, food stuff, or any other thing. Then you will get points. With your points, you can enter the weekly draw and also use it to get data or calls. Just one by everybody can win. No pick and choose, yeah?
Yes, Momo Western WhatsApp 4 is back. Dial star 156 hash to transact and earn points on every Momo transaction and redeem them for airtime, data, or cash. Each transaction enters you into the weekly draw for amazing prizes where you can win keke, generators, smartphones, cash prizes, and the grand prize of a brand new 2-bedroom house. So quickly dial star 156 hash to transact and win now.
MTN.
The $3 giveaway on Love FM has gotten bigger and better. Oh yes, for the same bet amount of $100 Liberian or US 70 cents, the regular prize money now go way up from $2,500 Liberian to $3,000 Liberian. All you need to do is dial star 799 hash, select number 10 for Love FM 105.1. Plenty of people winning, oh, don't be left out with Radio Entertainment Liberia and Love FM on the $3 giveaway. Liberia, check it better.
Oh yes, after a commercial commitment, we're back with more issues right here. You know, folks are asking, "Hey, Rufus, you Basa man? Come on." From my maternal side, I have a link to the Basa people. Okay, so when you hear me speaking Basa, don't be surprised. I have Basa blood. But it's good to be here on the Lean Back Friday. Thank God it's Friday, and we are here. And a privilege for all of us. We have 24 hours given us by God, the good, the bad, the evil, and the ugly. We all benefit from the 24 hours, but it's on you as an individual. How are you to use your 24 hours? That is going to better your life or will take your life to a point where you will retrogress. So I believe that all of us will want to do those positive things that are going to elevate our life and put us in a position that we will actually accomplish what we were placed on the face of the earth for by the All Supreme, the Most High God, the above land, then in your way. So let's take you to Rabbits International Airport for arrivals. At the Rabbits International Airport, we begin with Oscar Airlines flight KP20. We arrive at the Rabbits International Airport at 5:50 this evening from Accra, Ghana. And lastly, for arrivals at the Rabbits International Airport is the Brussels Airlines. Brussels Airlines flight SN241 will arrive at the Rabbits International Airport at 7:20 this evening from Freetown, Sierra Leone. So that does it for arrivals at the Rabbits International Airport. Let's quickly take you to the departures from the Rabbits International Airport. Brussels Airlines flight SN241 will depart the Rabbits International Airport at 8:40 this evening for Brussels. So that does it for the flight schedules, arrivals, and departures from the Rabbits International Airport. Quickly, let's rumble through the traffic update. The traffic update is ongoing. And we want to acknowledge all of us that we take up the time to do this so that you get to be informed about the happenings in the traffic. Some of our friends who just visiting Liberia or those who are outside of Liberia and follow our broadcast, listening to our online radio, loveradioonline.com, or following our Facebook handle, Love TV Live, we get to know when they have the opportunity to come to Liberia, how they go about their movement, to know where to use, when to travel, and when not to. So that's why we fill you in with the traffic update as always on the program. I'm always in solidarity with the folks of the Bourgeois Island site, because that site for now is faced with a lot of difficulties when it comes to the traffic. Firstly, the road condition have made it so terrible for dwellers of that end to experience the toughness they have in the traffic. So we look forward to the dry season, where we've been told that government will begin and its partners will begin the rehabilitation of that corridor of road. So we will have our folks having free access, like the people on the Somalia Drive or the Japanese Freeway, as it is termed as, and those on the Rabbits International Airport Highway. They are experiencing free flow of traffic because they have paved roads, and that is also welcoming. It's a sign of development. Like Liberia is forging ahead in terms of development. So let's take you to our folks in Bourgeois Island. It's kind of difficult for them. So for those of you who want to go to the red light area and you are in the Bourgeois Island areas, all you need to do, make your way through if you are coming from Zimbabwe Bridge area, just make your way through the Carwell. Carwell going to take you for Dixville. Dixville will take you up for Bartonsville. Bartonsville will take you up for Johnsonville. Johnsonville will take you to Pipeline, and Pipeline will give you access to all parts of the Painesville Belt. All right. If you are heading towards the Kakata area or the Fender area, no need of you using by way of the Pipeline Road. All you need to do when you get to Johnsonville, just get through. It will take you to the how you call it, the Mount Barkley areas, and head on. You are on the Monroeville Kakata Highway. That's enough for you, without you seeing the red light, without you seeing the other areas, right? So now it also goes to those of you from the Kakata side and wanting to access Boucher Island. No need of you using by way of red light, all those kinds of things. As soon as you get to the area there, Mount Barkley area, just find your way through, pass before the Modern Hotel around there, that route. Use that route. They're gonna give you access to the Johnsonville area, or Johnsonville gonna give you access to the Bartonsville area, and Bartonsville gonna give you access to the how you call it, the Dixville. Dixville gonna give you access to other parts of Bourgeois Island, like the Caldwell and so forth. Now, for those of you using the main route headed towards town, it becomes so difficult for you in the morning, it becomes so difficult for you in the afternoon and late evening hours. So all you need to do is to follow the rules of engagement. Make sure that you drive not more than 20 kilometers per hour when you are accessing that main route, because you have lots of potholes along that route. So around the Freeport area, it becomes so difficult because there's still work being done around the Freeport LPRC route. Those areas are traffic prone. So when you get around the Freeport area, you will have a detour because the road is under construction. That little corridor from the Freeport between there to the LPRC is under construction. So the guys have created a detour on the opposite lane. So that makes it very difficult now, and make the traffic so tense. And head on, you are headed towards town. But for those of you from the Somalia, not the Somalia Drive, but the Japanese Freeway, you need not to access the Freeport end. All you need to do, just pass through Door Community. Door Community going to head you for Claratown. Claratown will give you access to Vartown. That's very unique for you. No need of you making yourself to stay up in the traffic along that route. But while you are using that route within the Door Community and Claratown areas, know that those areas are residential areas. And you have kids who live in that community that just jump up on the road, and you have people having their cars on the shoulders of the road. So take cue from this and know that you are not to run more than 10 kilometers per hour in that corridor, because it's a residential area. That's good for all of us to know. Now, those of us who are from the Dupont Road area, from the parts of that end, now you are around the Pacopin end, just get access to the Zizi Community Road. Zizi Community Road going to give you access to Dupont Road. So when you get around the Benzine Hospital area, no need of you stressing yourself. All you need to do, you use by way of the route before the Benzine Hospital. They're going to take you up for the main road there that leads to Police Academy. When you get to Police Academy, no need of going to Dupont Road Junction. All you need to do, drive through the Police Academy, and that will take you up for the Boulevard. This is on the second Boulevard. Head on you to the Boulevard Junction. That will save you the stress from the tension between the Boulevard Junction and that of the SD Cooper Road traffic congestion. That's that for us. When you get on the main routes, for those of you coming from the ERW Junction area, brace yourself to experience little pocket of traffic around the SD Cooper Junction. When you cross that path, it's not going to be as flexible you will have to experience little toughness in the traffic as far as the Boulevard Junction. When you get out of Boulevard Junction, it is now also feasible for you. You're going to have little toughness in the traffic, and that go as far as the 540 back road, Congotown back road intersection there, because you have the police officers regulating the traffic, because there are folks who are using by way of the Congotown back road to have access to the Tottenham Boulevard, and there are others who are using the main Tottenham Boulevard route. So the police will do it one at a time. You allow the traffic to flow on the Tottenham Boulevard for a while, and you put a halt and allow those that are coming from the Congotown back road to access the Tottenham Boulevard and head on all road leads to town. We told you as often that in the morning hours, people head towards town, and in the afternoon hours, people go back to the various destinations. If you want to have a freeness in the traffic, wake up at 5, you prepare yourself, 6 o'clock, you're on the road, you're going to have free access from 6 as far as 7:30. 8 o'clock, you start to experience real toughness in the traffic. Today is Friday. You won't experience much of toughness in the traffic, because most often people don't go to work early on Fridays. Friday is one of the laziest day that employees always wish for, to come so that they have a little relax in the tension from the job. So that's that for us. When you get past the Vamuma end there, you are going to have little pockets or little toughness around the 20th Street area because of the traffic light, and head on, you are having access to the whole of Sinkhall. You can use the avenue if you do not want to be stuck in the traffic. You can also, when you get on the avenue, you use by way of what the place name? I ran a place here. I lost track of the name. So that area going to give you access to the Capital Bypass. All right. So this is how the traffic in Liberia operates. So let's take you now to a few things that we want to bring to your attention. Initially, you heard us playing excerpts from press conferences that were held on yesterday. You listened to the senator of Maghibie County, Senator Nathaniel McGill, stressing the need for a serious look at the budget. Has been alleged that it was tampered with. So there must be a thorough investigation in that matter. He was aided in the process by representative of District Number 7, Nima County, Honorable Musa Hassan Beliti. Both of them share in thoughts and a little bit of disagreement on certain issues as well. But they had a press conference and spoke out their minds on national issues. Let's fast forward. You listen to the information minister outlining some basic information that the public needs to know. And those are all things that we appreciate. And yesterday we had a lengthy discussion on those who were being fired or relieved of their posts from the Monrovia City Corporation. And our question here was, were they given due process in terms of warning? Because the standing rules of the civil service states that when you're in an act of violation of the rules, you are given letters 2 times. And if you are still in the business of doing the same old thing, you are dismissed. So as records have been proven yesterday, those posts and messages and stuff like that were displayed by the Minister of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, Mr. Jeremy Pia, on some of those individuals who were in constant habit of doing something that is against the CSA standing rules. And some of those individuals were also captured in the web because the CSA rule states 14 consecutive days without going to work. It leads to your dismissal. And it says some of these individuals did not vote at the Monrovia City Corporation for approximately 3 months. Some of them, they passed the 14 days. So those were all things that led to their dismissal, not just only the Facebook page or the raining of insults, because on yesterday we highlighted that even the CSA present boss was in a constant habit during the regime of former President Weah. He had the opportunity to serve in that leadership, and then he also used his social media handle to spread out his dissatisfaction and on things that the government were doing, and his dissatisfaction, and stating that the president is not his president. The president is celebrity taking state power. What it becomes is a problem, and all those stuff like that. But we continue to say to our friends who find themselves in a professional environment, it is on you. The urge is on you to maintain the level of professionalism. That's what I always find on people mixing professionalism with politics. Politics have come to the point in this country to destroy the fabrics of every professional standings in this country. Everyone wants to be seen as a militant. Everyone wants to be seen as somebody who is vocal, so they believe that they have the rights. But this morning, what we will be doing here will be drilling you through your constitutional rights, where your rights begins and where it ends, and what are those things that you are to do in the confines of the law. Like the minister said, the law will take its course. If you feel disenchanted and you feel that your dismissal was unlawful, all you need to do, use the course of the law. Take the matter to the court, and whatever the court says, because the court is the final arbiter of justice. So let's take you through some of these fundamental rights. Some of these fundamental rights that you need to know from the Constitution. Like we continue to say, it is our plea to the Ministry of Education to reintroduce the teaching of civics. It is our plea to the Ministry of Education to introduce the teaching of the Constitution in our schools. Because when we know these fundamental rights, we will work in chalk line in our professional environment. But because the Liberian people, most of us, especially the young people who are not acquainted with these laws that are on the books, so we be right on, and sometimes we misinterpret these laws. We are anticipating as a media institution to have a legal luminary having the time to explain some of these laws to us as it relates to our constitutional rights. It is what we are anticipating to have some of our legal luminaries come here to detail to us and open our minds to the legal matters as it relates to our rights and responsibilities as citizens. So let me take you to Article 15 of the Liberian Constitution. Article 15 of the Liberian Constitution states, Article 15, A. Every person shall have the right to freedom of expression, being fully responsible for the abuse thereof. Now, I have the freedom to express myself, but you must be responsible. Your freedom comes with what? Like we said yesterday, we will continue to say, your freedom comes with responsibility, and you will take responsibility of the abuse thereof. So now that we know we have freedom to expression, but it comes with responsibility. If we abuse the freedom given us, we will therefore be responsible for our actions. So we go further with the reading. The right shall not be curtailed, restricted, or enjoyed by government save during an emergency declared in accordance with this Constitution. B. The right compasses the right to hold opinions without interference and the right to knowledge. It includes freedom of speech and of the press, academic freedom to receive and impart knowledge and information, and the right of libraries to make such knowledge available. It says it includes non-interference with the use of the mail, telephone, and telegraph. It likewise includes the right to remain silent. So your right comes in so many forms and shapes, but also you have the right to remain silent on issues. All right? So now let us understand this. So that tells you the government through the Ministry of Education is in gross violation for not having you informed about the Constitution and that of the civics that we are pleading for. Because it is our right as citizens to know about our country, to know the laws that governs our country. So the Ministry of Education through the government is in violation of this right. We had the teaching of civics in our schools. Do we have that? Only certain schools now, and that is outside of the government cycle. Some private schools still maintain the teaching of civics in their schools. But with the government schools, we don't find that. It was replaced by social studies. So we say in this open manner, we want you to reintroduce the teaching of civics and the Constitution. That's going to help to enlighten the minds of Liberians on these things that matters to their own growth and development. So the teaching of civics will be welcoming, and as it stands, the government through the Ministry of Education is in violation of this right, because we have the right to information. We have the right to academic freedom. We have the right to know our rights and responsibilities. So we go to C, 15C. In pursuance of this right, there shall be no limitation on the public right to be informed about the government and its functionaries. You see that? What I'm telling you? Civics taught us, or civics teaches us how government runs. You will get to know from civics that indeed the branches of government, how they run. You will get to know from civics your roles and responsibility as citizens. But because we are not taking our time to read these things, these laws are on the books, but we are not reading it. So people are infringing on our rights. So it is the right of every Liberian to know how government runs. It is the right of every Liberian to freedom of information. Our kids that are growing up, they have the right to know how the government runs. So how can that be brought into play? By the teaching of civics. When you teach civics, the citizens get to know how the executive runs, how the legislative branch runs, how the judiciary runs, and you just name it. But we say there, because our minds are engulfed with politics, petty politics, we forget about these fundamental rights. We want to know that my right to freedom of expression, but not knowing that your right has also limitation. You have to bear the punishment for the violation of that right there too. So these are things that we taught the wise to bring to your understanding. Now, he says, this freedom may be limited only by judicial action in proceedings grounded in defamation or invasion of the rights of privacy and publicity, or in the commercial aspects of expression, in deception, false advertising, and copyright infringement. So these are things that we need to know. These are things that we need to know. So when you read the Constitution, it enlightens your mind and gives you the urge to know how to go about. So let us learn. Let us join this bandwagon in calling the government through the Ministry of Education to reintroduce the teaching of civics. It was based on the ideology of few politicians who felt to themselves that if the Liberian people are taught how government runs, if the Liberian people get to know their roles and responsibilities for the various branches of government, things that they want to do as politicians, they will not meet up with them, because the people are aware somebody who wants to lead them through the legislative branch of government will come to them and say, hey, look, I won't be a representative. I will pay you pump. I will pay car road for you. It is not your responsibility. You are responsible and you are given the power of three cardinal functions: lawmaking, oversight, and representation. So if you do not know your function and you're telling the people that indeed you obey their role, is that your responsibility as a legislator? No. You have oversight responsibility to call on the executive, those responsible. You make sure to make law that will actually see to it that these things are brought into play. And you will monitor. That's why you have the willpower to call on whoever to question them on their workings. But our people are not aware of these things that are on the books. So you use them through their ignorance of the law and infringe on their rights. So we pass this morning to encourage all of us to get a copy. If the Ministry of Education will not begin at the moment, let us all get a copy of our Constitution and make it our normal thing to read the Constitution on a daily basis so that people cannot infringe on your rights. Have you come to realize that as a citizen, even when there is an arrest, you know that you should be acquainted with your Madeleine rights? You don't know. But some of you don't want to go arrest you. You don't even know what it takes when these kinds of arrests should be made. You don't even know anything about these things. So your rights are being trampled upon. So you got to know these things and have the understanding. Get for yourself a copy of the Liberian Constitution. It will help you. If you don't have money and you have data in that phone, go on the phone, go on the Google and search the Liberian Constitution. Download it. Instead of you taking the time to be watching all kind of movies on your phone or getting all kind of Facebook posts on things, you can also take up the time to know your roles and responsibility and know your rights as a citizen of this land by reading the Constitution. You even get a copy. The guys can be passing around with the Constitution. Get a copy for yourself. Sometimes it's sold for $300, $500. Get a copy for yourself, so that you read these laws that are on the books, so that somebody cannot override based on your ignorance. So Article 17 says, all persons at all times in an ordinary and peaceable manner shall have the right to assemble and consult upon the common good, to instruct their representatives, to petition the government or other functionaries for the redress of grievances, and to associate fully with others or refuse to associate in political parties, trade unions, and other organizations. So you see, one of the powers that have been given you as a citizen, it is your sole responsibility to petition your lawmaker. Say, look, it is the constitutional rights of us as district residents that you gave us a clear understanding of what is being done inside there. It is our constitutional right to have the basic information. We can petition you to go and critique those individuals who are not living up to the constitutional mandates. That's why you see our folks, the power given them, oversight. A lot of them, they misuse this power, call people for the wrong reason. While you, the citizens, you are going through stress when it comes to the health sector. There's no proper health delivery services. But at the end of the day, when you call on your lawmaker, they don't pay heed to that because you are not following up and reading the Constitution. It gives you the power to petition them, to call the relevant authority, to question them. But some of them, because of their personal gains, because of their personal political maneuverings, they call people on the basis of party line. They call people on the basis of some hate or something, but not in your interests. So that aspect or that power given them for oversight responsibility, quote unquote, have been misused oftenly. 18 says, all Liberian citizens shall have equal opportunity for work and employment regardless of sex, creed, religion, ethnic background, place of origin, or political affiliation, and all shall be entitled to equal pay for equal work. This is where we are. We found out that people, past governments, and even present, people are complaining of marginalization. They say they have been marginalized because they are from Party B or they are from Party C, and because you are in the employ of that institution and the government at hand see you as a persona non grata, that the book people will say. So we want to caution all of us. The more you read the Constitution, it enlightens your mind, just as the whole book. The Bible, the more you read the Bible, it gives you a clear understanding of life, how to go around, how to move with people, how to do things so that you be in right standing with God. That's how governance is. The Constitution will give you a clear understanding of how government works. So if a political party takes state power, you who are from the opposition, you have equal rights and equal opportunity should be accorded you to work in as much you are a professional person and you are in the employ, or you are not in the employ, but you have the vacancy given out and you apply. It is your constitutional right. If you go through the test and pass, it is your constitutional right to work. You shouldn't be marginalized because of your religion. You should be marginalized of your sex, your creed, or your ethnic background, or your place of origin. Man, you from another country, no, we can't get you a job. You from another political party, no, we can't get you a job. We are entitled to equal pay for equal work. Something because I'm from political party C and you are from political party B, and we are doing the same work, but I'm not being given the just pay, but you are being given pay that exceeds the work or the responsibility given us. So these are things, when you read, you take up your time to read the Constitution, it opens your mind, it gives you a clear understanding of what government is and how to go about as a citizen. 19, Article 19 said, no person other than members of the armed forces of Liberia or of the military in active service shall be subject to military law or made to suffer any pain or penalties by virtue of that law or be tried by court martial. You're not military man. but you have been penalized because of a law of meditancy. See, it will be a violation of your rights. 20A, no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, security of the person, property, privilege, or any other right except as the outcome of a hearing judgment consistent with the provision laid down in this Constitution and in accordance with due process of law. Justice shall be done without sale, denial, or delay, and in all cases not arising in court, not of record, honor courts martial, and upon impeachment, the penalties or the parties shall have the right to trial by juror. You see all that in it? Somehow we not know it. So we will go to court. People use the connections to trample upon our rights. The Constitution says it's a violation of your right. So if you knew you knew these things, you wouldn't have gone through what you went through in the court. If you are not satisfied, it is your right for a trial by juror. B says the right of an appeal from a judgment, decree, decision, or ruling of any court or administrative board or agency except the Supreme Court shall be held invaluable. The legislature shall prescribe rules and procedures for the easy expenditures and expensive filing and adhering of an appeal. All these things we try to enlighten your minds on it through these articles so that you get to know these articles that we are reading here this morning. They are in line with the daily activities that we are experiencing. Now, some of our brothers say they have been wrongfully dismissed from the MCC. By reading this law, you get to understand this law is the organic law of the Republic of Liberia. There are sub-laws that governs institutions like the CSA standing rules. Even here at the Sarafina Ventures and Communications Incorporated, we have our electoral policies. We have our standing rules as it relates to how we go about doing things here. So the organic law is the Constitution, and the Constitution, our laws should not breach the organic law, but rather it should have connection. So wherever you are this morning, we are privileged to talk to your conscience this morning. And if you want to weigh in, a lot of people, the guys were being wrongfully dismissed. There are laws on the books. If you feel you are not being given due process, don't take the law in your own hands. Go and seek justice. That's why the court is there. The judicial branch of government is responsible in that line to dispense justice. Go and seek justice. That's what it's all about. That's why we thought it wise to enlighten your minds this morning on these few articles within the Constitution. So you want to weigh in this morning on other issues? And what we're discussing this morning is 0887-105-105, 0778-665-073 are numbers to call this morning and form part of the Positive Show right here on Love FM 105.1. 0887-105-105, 0778-665-073 are the numbers to call and form part of the Positive Show. You know, everything in this country, we have come to the point to politicize it. When actions are taken, we want to put a spin on things. But when we are doing things that are contrary to the laws or the policies that safeguard the environment for which we work, we don't count on the law. We don't know that we are violating the law until we are caught in the web. Is when we get to know that we have legal bindings, we have legal rights. So these are things that we need to know. You must familiarize yourself with the laws that governs the place you work. They say ignorant of the law is no excuse. If you are employed to a particular place and that place have bylaw and constitution, or that place have standing rules, if you do not seek to get clarity on those very rules and you go and violate them, ignorant of the law is no excuse. You will be held liable for the penalty thereof. So we are encouraging all of us, if you were employed to a particular place or you've been employed in government institutions, if you are a civil servant, make sure to familiarize yourself with those standing rules so that you do not violate them. Because there are penalty measures put in place. When you are in violation, you are penalized in that form and manner. Like the standing rule of the civil service, 14 days absence in a month, it warrants your dismissal. If you are caught in the act of doing things and you are warned 2 times and you still continue, the next action is a dismissal. So let us understand these things and stop politicizing things around here. Because when we tend to politicize things, everything in this country will not be seen as a shoe. And then where we come in with the big book, the terminology, we've been witch hunted. And, but we failed to understand that we needed to have acquainted ourselves with the rules that governs the service provider. You have an enabling environment given you where you go to make ends meet for you and your family. But because of political maneuvering, you want to be seen as a militant. You want to be seen as somebody who has all of the strength and the might to be seen in the public as one of the talking people. The urge is yours. Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and you join us from where?
I'm Jackson Doe from Fender.
What's your name? Are you?
Yeah, thank you very much for the education that you are giving to us here. We need the brain we are suffering because we don't know the constitution. So we feel that we are ready in certain case, and when we take it to the court, and the court are pushing the law, we feel like they are biased. That's why, but it's good that we should know our own constitution. That when you take it into it, you know what you're taking it and how you're taking it. And you said it right, the constitution is just in school. So that children can know it. What is right and what is not right in the constitution. And the lawmakers are not doing any good for the citizens. They are representing the citizens. They should be educating the citizens. They represent go to Americans and I call it the control area. And open and Russia. So that they can know that right. But because they want to be in power, so they will not do that. They have to educate the people. I get what you said. People know that right. So, I mean, I really enjoy your education, motivation statement you give me.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you too for participating.
Yeah, so I hope that we will start taking that direction to know our right. Because sometimes we take cases to think right. But when the judge has given our wrong, then we say the bad man, the good bad man. But because we feel that we're right, and when we are taught, we will not do that. So I appreciate you, Harley, and thank you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your participation too. Oh yes, that's the reality. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. That's how we come. Oh, the people, they're too biased. Did you read the law? Hello?
Good morning. How you doing?
Wonderful. What's your name and you join us from where?
My name is Arthur Kofi Komba. I come from Brockville.
Let's hear you, sir.
Yeah, you see, when you are going to an institution, the employment letter, then look for the good part. Look for also which one is the bad part. They also in the employment, they say, Because insubordination, where do they come in? How do you look at the director and insult the director? Freedom of speech, maybe freedom of insult. Freedom of speech, not freedom of insult. So you insult anybody when we're worrying the dismissal, yes, you will be dismissed. You can't be working for an institution, then insulting the head of the institution. So if that's worrying your dismissal, yes, of course, you will be dismissed. Other people say justice. Somebody this one saw it. He called and said, "Yeah, it's me." Now, why did you do that? The employee might tell the employee to go for due. Let it get watch. I don't want to say what for the due process law is there that you are employed or no. He accepted for the son is documented and he accepted his job with that condition. So when you go against it, and there's a right to be fired. There's no fire about 3 times there. There. There's a law. So not just the word about a food and Ryan. I know it because it's free to call. I'm a politician. So but they do that only you call them to say only I'm a politician. Why would they be a politician? Oh, I can talk. Freedom of speech, not freedom of insult.
Freedom of speech comes with responsibility.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And right there, you read it this morning and you never did. And you insult somebody, you left with them, and you insulted me yesterday, and I let you go. So today, other than not like I saw that, no, I can't take it anymore, I take you to court. They say, why happy yesterday, happy today? They happy yesterday, so you let it go. So today, when I say, it can't go, it will not go. I will catch you, I will go to court, or what I want to do, I'll do it to you. Why the law say I will do that, what I will do. And so the other the leader yesterday, those that are in power, and they need that not to be that way. Because you're looking for a vote. When you say let it go, today you do it, you will be fired. Carry your vote. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so well. 0778-665-073, 087-105-105 are the numbers to call. And here is Liberia's problem. In Liberia, when you have multitude of people doing the wrong thing and having the wrong reason, we say, oh, we'll tell me to be right. And the minute portion of people doing the right thing, we say, because more people are doing it, so that makes them right. And the people who are not doing it and are in the minute portion, we see them to be wrong. That's what Liberia is. Because Joseph did it yesterday and he was not penalized. When Martha come and do it today and there is a penalty measure used against her through the competent court of jurisdiction, we say, oh, that wish on. This is where Liberia is. Let's get to the line. Good morning. 0778-665-073, 0887-105-105 are the numbers to call. And let's form part of it. Let's talk about these things. Let's talk about our constitutional rights. We need to take up the time to read the Constitution. If it calls for you to read one page every day you take another page you read, before the end of the month, you have concluded a wise portion of the Constitution and acquainting yourself. If even you do not understand it, get a legal luminary or somebody who understands the law to interpret the law to you. Because these things are on the books. It does not say you don't have freedom. You have freedom. But your freedom comes with what responsibility. Here is it. Article 15 of the Liberian Constitution. A. Every person shall have the right to freedom of expression, being fully responsible for the abuse thereof. Now, underscore the word fully responsible for the abuse thereof. I gave you the right to come and work in my employ. Because you are a Liberian citizen, you are given privileges. It is not your right to go above the rules and regulations that governs my institution. That is a violation of the right being given you to work.
If you step the bounds, that means you have abused the freedom given you to work. So we must read and reread so that we get to understand what the Constitution says to us. Every person shall have the right to freedom of expression, being fully responsible for the abuse thereof. This right shall not be curtailed, restricted, or enjoined by government, save during an emergency declared in accordance with this Constitution. A lot of you, they violate the people's right. We see senators are all fighting on the actions. But are we looking at the Constitution? Are we looking at the legal implication? Now, let us go back to some of our lawmakers at the House there. Now we have a Constitution that covers all of us, but at the House, you have your standing rules. Why do you think that people can carry slippers to that place? Why do you think people can carry jean trousers to that place and t-shirt? Because it is your standing rule. Anyone who violates, we have seen on numerous occasions, lawmakers being pulled out of the chambers because of the way of indecent dress code. So why do you think you put that man outside? Isn't that his right to participate? It is his right. But his right, he abused the privilege given him. So the abuse thereto or thereof, he has the penalty to be put outside. Yan Twain, one of the senators of Nima County, is fighting on the action taken by the CSA bus. My question to you, sir, with all due respect, can you go to the Capitol building and go into session indecently dressed? You won't. There are certain things that are done within that place. You people have your own law. What is done within that place, it remains there and it is settled there. Anything out of the chambers, anything within the chambers, it has to do with, in-house. But outside of the chamber, the law takes its course. So we must understand, let us not buy sentiments in these kind of discourse. Let us not buy sentiments and so because we want to win votes or because we want to win attention of people, we want to be seen as, no. The law is the law. If Rufus Divine Cannon sits on this radio and use invectives, and the rule states that it is unacceptable for the media to be used as a tools of spreading misinformation and disinformation, and it's one of the wrong thing to do to use invectives on the radio. And Rufus is in the constant habit of doing it. And the laws are on the book. And if Rufus is caught in the process, on several occasions, Rufus have been warned not to use invectives on the radio. But yet, Rufus feels that he has political attachment, he has political connections, so he continues to bring insults on the radio. And action is taken against Rufus, then we say, oh, they are witch hunting. There are laws on the book. We need to safeguard the space, the airwaves. But if I'm caught in constant habit of reading invectives, I have violated that law. And that law is always made in consonance with the organic law. There's no law in the Republic of Liberia that will surpass the constitutional law. It must be in alignment with the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia. If you organize your institution and you want to put your bylaw and policies down, it must be in consonance with the Republic of Liberia Constitution. Freedom to movement, it must also coincide with your own stuff there. You must have freedom of movement for the staff. Freedom of expression,
That's why you see in institutions, they provide the enabling environment for people to have unions and other things. Anything short of that is a violation to their rights. So if we were reading the laws and we have people interpreting the law to us, we will sail on a very positive path and our nation will be developed. That's why I continue to say, when the minds are developed, the eyes will appreciate the works of the hands. Because of our limited way of doing things, and we have entrenched ourselves into bad politicking, so we don't care. What is done wrongly, we appreciate because more people are doing it, so we see it to be right. But the right thing that limited people are doing and wanting to see the transformation, we see it to be wrong. But where they want proof, who they think they are. But it is wrong. What is wrong, it is wrong. Not because more people doing it, that makes it right. Because yesterday, somebody sat on the radio and used invectives and caused officials of government use their social media platforms and rain insult at people. That makes it right that you have the same vein to go and do the same. Because that person wasn't punished, that makes it right that you should do the same. Come on. Will we continue to retrogress? We must show some level of distinction. If the crazy man, you are taking shower and the crazy man goes in the bathroom and take your clothes and run with it, will you jump outside? So then, when you jump outside and run it behind you, how they will take two of you? You and the crazy man, who that crazy? So these are things that we want you to understand. That's why we continue to caution our brothers who are now at the helm of power. Understand that not because the other people witch hunted you and did things to you that humiliated you on the job, so you must come back and do a payback. No. You must live in the confines of the law, because every Liberian have the opportunity, should have the opportunity to work for equal pay or pay for equal work. Not because I'm not part of your party, so I am qualified to do the work, but I'm being marginalized. That is a violation of my fundamental rights. Let's get more of your reactions on 0887-105-105, 0778-665-073, our numbers to call this morning and form part of the conversation here. We're talking about our basic rights and responsibilities as citizens. 0778-665-073, and that is coupled with the prevailing situation with the CSA and that of some of the folks that have been laid off from the Monrovia City Corporation. Let's get to talk about these things and matters to the growth and development of our country. 0887-105-105, 0778-665-073 are the numbers to call. While we await your calls, let's get our commercial commitment. And for some of you who want to form part of our radio game, you can just have $100 or 70 cents in your phone, and that's *799# select number 10 for Love FM. Who knows? You may be one of those lucky winners to win for yourself 3,000 Liberian dollars on this Friday. So get the calls coming through on 0778-665-073. 0887-105-105, 0887-105-105, 0778-665-073 are the numbers to call. Ignorance to the law, there's no excuse. We should have that at the back of our mind. Oh, I don't know about you. That's why when you get in an environment, you should acquaint yourself with the law. Yeah. Let's get this person. Good morning.
Good morning, brother.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, and you?
I'm wonderful. What's your name and you join us from where?
I'm John Peter calling from my resident of Warwick.
Peter, let's hear you.
Okay, thank you for the show. I listened to your expose on the show, and I think that, brother, this country will be going nowhere if we continue to live on retrogression. The CSA director, the letter that was wrote from MCC indicating the CSA director dismissal on the 9 guys, have stated all of the code of conduct, the standing act of the institution linking with the CSA stated all. So why we cannot read that? Why we cannot read that and we'll be running with insinuation and trying to score political goal, criticizing everything are going to do. You that insidious. It doesn't mean that when someone started to insult you, then you can insult the next person and go free. No. If it was Joshua yesterday, we condemn it. But it's Joseph Baga today. He has the right to all his team to take any legal steps against anyone who goes against the government wrongly.
Sure.
So, my brother, we have to change our way of doing things and see how we can move the country forward. Let's leave the politics. They don't see how we can change things in our society. We are growing older. More has to be practiced.
Oh, yeah.
Listen to some of our brother shows. The thing is saying sometimes we wonder why it's just PUL. And last time we recorded the judiciary, they had a meeting with the press saying that they will restrict all publications, all the news platforms, blah, 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 that. Since then, everyone can just say and speak opinion, say anything in the video. We are not insult our leaders. We go to the press conference, calling it base, people there insulting, saying ultimately with attention there, recording. So we have to change our thinking. Let's see how that we move the change of power. It's not about who they did it to, who did not did it to, who did it to, who did not did it to. Our lawmaker, they will stay there. Take every discussion or session, bring it on the radio, discuss it instead of leaving it in the house. So that's my brother. That's it, my brother. Thank you for the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's get more of your reactions right here on the program, The Positive Show. Let's call it. Good morning. Okay. 0778-665-073. 0887-105-105. Back to the telephone line. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, sir? What's your name and you join us from where?
Okay, I'm James Sobel, calling from my own residence with South Lake, Gita.
Mr. Soba, let's hear you.
Yeah, okay. Rufus, I'm listening to you religiously. Rufus, one thing I'm taking it back. I want to know whether the organic law of our country, the Constitution, protect lawmakers from making incentives for finishing all leaders. Let's go to the issue of Yega Koluba, because we noticed that Yega Koluba, of recent, he have a press conference. And then one thing I want to stress on is the media. The media is always giving Yega Koluba the airtime to use the platform to insult leaders. So I want to know whether the Constitution gave these lawmakers the leverage to be able to insult or people in the country and go scot-free. Because we noticed for the years, Yega Koluba have been insulting the past president and even people that are older than him, and no action has been taken against him.
So this is why we continue to call on us, even the present leadership, to take a keen look at the Constitution. There are fundamental laws there for implementation, but we neck on these kinds of things, and at the end of the day, people sail on a silver platter and make themselves as demagogues. The alternative measures is a violation. He violates the rights of someone. So what is needed to be done? Those who have been violated, the rights have been violated by the means of insult, can take issues with the House of Representatives. Take his complaint. They have the jurisdiction to punish him under the statute. They have the jurisdiction to punish him.
Yeah, seriously, Rufus, because the horse is for adults, it's for people with integrity, and those people go there to represent people to leave legacy for tomorrow. You can't have the lawmaker who always insulting, making lavish incentives on leaders.
And you as constituents, you have the legal right to solicit signatures.
Rufus, that's why I'm doing. I'm already getting the support from people in the district. We will be assembly. We'll go to their office, and the district will be able to tell the law.
You can file in a petition.
Don't have confidence in Yega Koluba. Yega Koluba is very immoral. Yega Koluba does not represent to be a leader of district number 10. He has no integrity. Yega Koluba is undevelopmental, and we are mobilizing men. We are mobilizing the community, the district. We'll be coming outside to tell the people that we have no confidence in Yega Koluba.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you for your expertise this morning. 0778-665-073, 0887-105-105 are the numbers to call and form part of the program, The Positive Show, right here on Love FM 105.1. 0778-665-073, 0887-105-105 are the numbers to call and form part of The Positive Show, right here on Love FM 105.1. So chapter 5, article 27 talks about citizenship. Or no, we're not talking about citizenship. Let's go to the legislature, where the power lies within the legislature. Is okay, chapter 5 talks about the legislature. Article 29, the legislative power of the Republic of Liberia be vested in the legislature of Liberia, which shall consist of 2 separate houses, a Senate and a House of Representatives, both of which must pass on all legislation. The enacting style shall be, it is enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the Republic of Liberia in Legislative Assembly. 30 says, citizens of Liberia who meet the following qualification are eligible to become members of the legislature. Okay, talk about the eligibility to become senator or a representative. So let me just read that. Some people and they're just taking people and electing them in their districts. So learn this today. Citizens of Liberia who meet the following qualification are eligible to become members of the legislature. A, for the Senate, have attained the age of 30 years, and for the House of Representatives, have attained the age of 25 years. B, be domiciled in the county or constituency to be represented not less than 1 year prior to the time of the election, and be a taxpayer. Article 31. Each member of the legislature, before taking his seat and entering upon the duties of office, shall take and subscribe to a solemn oath of affirmation before the presiding officer of the house to which such person was elected, and in the presence of other members of that house, to uphold and defend the Constitution and laws of the Republic of Liberia, and to discharge faithfully duties of such office. Now, this is where our brother complaints come from. The lawmaker of District number 10 has been alleged is found in violation of these laws. 32 says, the legislature shall assemble in regular session once a year on the second working Monday in January. B, the president shall on his own initiative or upon receipt of a certificate signed by at least 1/4 of the total membership of each house, and by proclamation extend a regular session of the legislature beyond the date for adjournment, or call a special or ordinary session of that body to discuss or act upon matters of national emergency and concerns. In continuation, when the extension or call is at the request of the legislature, the proclamation shall be issued not later than 48 hours after receipt of the certificate by the president. Article 33 says, a simple majority of each house shall constitute a quorum for the transaction of business, but a lower number may adjourn from day to day and compel the attendance of absent members. Whenever the House of Representatives and the Senate shall meet in joint session, the presiding officer of the House of Representatives shall preside. 34 says, the legislature shall have the power to create new counties and other political subdivisions and readjust existing county boundaries. B, to provide for the security of the public. So let's go to this line while we take this person. Good morning.
Yeah, Wilson.
Yes, sir.
I'm James Shabbat, they call it for district number 10.
Mm-hmm.
The part of that constitution, I think, is I can't be research, I've not seen it. But in the rule that they crafted about for themselves, I think it gives them the leverage that they say the lawmaker can make any statement you will not be accounted for. But the statement that you make, the statement should be statement that will represent the hearing of the people. It should be massaged, it should be civilized.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, over the years, for the past 6 years, something that we are doing, we have the successful legislator. Yet, said, the former speaker was not giving the chance to speak. But we have realized that Yega Koloba is lazy. He does not have the rectitude to be able to provide any legislative function as lawmaker. We just saw it. Of recent, they asked Yega provided a statement that he said he wanted Joseph Baga to give account of how he spent the inaugural money. And they told Yega to read from the paper that he had info in. Yega could not read from the paper, so he put out a mockery of me. He said, yeah, and Baga that baby. So we are seeing that Yega does not have the ability to represent as lawmaker. So we are telling us to come out as people in the district to have it impeached. And we do it constitutionally and have Yega impeached.
Okay, thank you, my brother. Thank you. Let's further read down. Maybe we will get to some of those things that talk about impeachment. Telephone says the legislature shall have the power to create, okay, we read that part, to provide for the common defense, to declare war, authority, authorize the executive to conclude peace, to raise and support the armed forces of Liberia, and to make appropriation, therefore, provided that no operations of mourning for that use shall be for a long term than 1 year, and to make rules for the governance of the armed forces of Liberia. D, to levy taxes, duties, imposed, excuse, and other revenues, to borrow money, issue currency, mint coins, and to make appropriation for the fiscal governance of the republic, subject to the following qualifications. A, all revenue bills, whether subsidies, charges, imposed duties or tax, and other financial bills shall originate in the House of Representatives, but the Senate may propose or concord with amendments as on other bills. No other financial charge shall be established, fixed, laid, or levied on any individual, community, or locality under any pretext whatsoever, except by the expressed consent of the individual, community, or locality. In all such cases, a true and correct account of funds collected shall be made to the community or locality. 2, no monies shall be drawn from the treasury except in consequence of appropriation made by the legislative enactment and upon warrant of the president. And no coins shall be minted or national currency issued except by the expressed authority of the legislature. An annual statement and account of the receipt and expenditure of all public monies shall be submitted by the office of the president to the legislature and published once a year. 3, no loans shall be raised by the government on behalf of the republic or guarantee given for any public institution or authority otherwise than by or under the authority of the legislative enactment. E, to constitute courts interfere to the Supreme Court, including Circuit Court, Claims Court, and such other courts with such prescribed judicial power as may be deemed necessary for the purpose or the proper administration of justice throughout the Republic. F, to improve treaties, conventions, and such other international agreements negotiated or signed on behalf of the Republic, to regulate trade and commerce between Liberia and other nations, to establish laws for citizens, naturalization, and residents. I, to enact the election law. J, to establish various categories of criminal offenses and provide for the punishment thereof. K, to enact laws providing pension schemes for various categories of government officials and employees in accordance with age and tenure of service. And L, to make all other laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers and all other powers vested by this Constitution in the government of Republic or in any department of or office thereof. Article 35, let's see what he has there. Each bill or resolution shall have passed both houses of legislature shall, before it becomes law, be laid before the president for his approval. If he grants approval, it shall become law. If the president does not approve such bill or resolution, he shall return it with his objections to the house in which it originated. In so doing, the president may disapprove of the entire bill or resolution or any item or items thereof. The veto may be overridden by the repassing of such bill, resolution, or item thereof by a vote of 2/3 of the members in each house, in which this case shall become law. If the president does not return the bill or resolution within 20 days, 20 days after the same shall have been laid before him, it shall become law in like manner, as if he had signed it, unless the legislature by adjournment prevents its return. No bill or resolution shall embrace more than one subject which shall be expressed in its statute. 36. Article 36. The senators and representatives shall receive from the Republic remuneration for their services to be fixed by law, provided that any increase shall become effective at the beginning of the next fiscal year. 37. Article 37. In the event of a vacancy in the legislature caused by death, resignation, expulsion, or otherwise, the presiding officer shall within 30 days notify the Elections Commission thereof. The Election Commission shall not later than 90 days thereafter cause a by-election to be held, provided that where such vacancy occurs within 90 days prior to the holding of general elections, the filling of the vacancy shall await the holding of such general elections. Article 38. Each house shall adopt its own rules of procedures, enforce others, and with the coherence of 2/3 of the entire membership, may expel a member for cause. Each house shall establish its own committee and subcommittees, provided, however, that the committees on revenues and appropriation shall consist of one member from each county
all rules adopted by the legislature shall conform to the requirements of due process of the law laid down in this Constitution. 39, Article 39, the legislature shall cause a census of the Republic to be undertaken every 10 years. Article 40, neither house shall adjourn more than 5 days without the consent of other, and both houses shall always sit in the same city. Article 41, the business of the legislature shall be conducted in the English language, or when adequate representation or preparations shall be made in one or more of the languages of the Republic, as the legislature may be resolution approved. Article 42. We thought it wise to read these articles to you. This morning we told you we're going to be looking at our Constitution. So we're reading out these things so that you familiarize yourself with it. Take up the time to read the Constitution and get clear understanding about how government is and how it operates, and your roles and responsibility as citizens and that of your rights. If trampled upon, you have the knowledge and the way through which you maneuver your way to get justice. So 42 says, no member of the Senate or House of Representatives shall be arrested, detained, prosecuted, or tried as a result of opinions expressed or votes cast in the exercise of the functions of his office. Members shall be privileged from arrest while attending, going to, or returning from session of the legislature, except for treason, felony, or breach of the peace. All officials' acts done or performed, and all statements made in the chambers of the legislature shall be privileged, and no legislator shall be held accountable or punished therefore. So anything they say inside there is amongst them. But when they come outside, the law takes its course. The power, so 43 says, the power to prepare a bill of impeachment is vested solely in the House of Representatives, and the power to try all impeachment is vested solely in the Senate. When the president, vice president, or an associate justice is to be tried, the chief justice shall preside. When the chief justice or a judge of the subordinate court of record is to be tried, the president of the Senate shall preside. No person shall be impeached but by the occurrence or concurrence of 2/3 of the total membership of the Senate. So let's hear what the person has to say. Good morning.
Good morning, Rufus.
Yes, sir.
Chief Sabo calling from District number 10.
Yes.
Before you just started the Article 42 that talked about the lawmaker making a statement in the chamber. But if the lawmaker make a statement that is threatening, that is immoral, that is against the state, that is not good for hearing outside of the chamber, you think the government needs to take a call if the lawmaker for questioning?
The government.
Most of the time, they get new statement outside the chamber.
So it is left with the government to meet or file in those complaints to the speaker, or if that person is from the Senate, you file a complaint to the pro tem or so.
So that means the whole itself.
They have jurisdiction. They have.
I think they got rules. They got rules there that.
Yes, they have jurisdiction over each lawmaker there. They have jurisdiction, but not somebody from outside. That's why they gave them the right. When you are even going to session or from session, they cannot be arrested only on grounds of treason or felony. They can be arrested, but anything other than that is being enlisted in this.
But have been making a lot of threatening statements against past government and previous government.
So that is in the line of the House of Representatives standing rule. They can call him to question, and they have the jurisdiction to carry on investigation within the house, but not outside.
Okay,
So now this is how the power is being given them. So they are squarely powerful to the extent that if even the cause only treason and felony, they can be arrested by extended government institution. But when it comes to those things like what the lawmaker is doing, it is in square implementation with the House operation, wherein the speaker can have a committee set up to investigate him, but he cannot be investigated outside of the legislature. So let's go where we were. Okay, we're on for the full. It says judgment. Let me go back for the TV. Power to prepare bills. Okay, I finished with that one. 44 says contempt of the legislature shall consist of action which obstructs the legislative functions or which construct or obstructs or impede members of or officer of the legislature in the discharge of their legislative duties, and may be punished by the House concerned by reasonable sanctions after a hearing consistent with due process of law. So let me read this over again. This is where your crime is. Contempt of the legislature shall consist of actions which obstructs the legislative functions or which obstructs or impede members or officers of the legislature in the discharge of their legislative duties, and may be punished by the House concerned by reasonable sanctions after a hearing consistent with due process of law. No sanction shall extend beyond the session of the legislature wherein it is imposed, and any sanction imposed shall conform to the provision on fundamental rights laid down in this Constitution. Disputes between legislators and non-members which are probably cognizable in the court shall not be entertained or heard in the legislature. So now, this is it. This is one of the areas. Dispute between legislators and non-members who are probably cognizable in the court shall not be entertained or heard in the legislature. That one, anything that is outside. If you have dispute with a legislator or a non-member of the legislature, that person, whatever that is carried on in the court, cannot be entertained in the legislature. So his colleagues have no jurisdiction over it. So they said, 45, the Senate shall be composed of senators elect for a term of 9 years by the registered voters in each of the counties, but a senator elected in a by-election. I know my man will call again. Hello?
So Rufus.
Yeah.
In a case where a legislator is now performing according to the expectation of a constituent, so we have the constitutional mandate to impeach that lawmaker according to the Constitution.
You can solicit signatures and take it to the House.
Yeah, so that would be one of the people of the Trinidad will be soliciting our.
Oh, he's off the line. So let's go 45. The Senate shall be composed of senators elected, okay, blah, 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 term 9 years by the registered voters in each of the counties, but a senator elect in a by-election to fill a vacancy created by death, resignation, expulsion, or otherwise, shall be so elected to serve only the remaining term of the unexpired term of office. Each county, it says, each county shall elect 2 senators, and each senator shall have 1 vote in the Senate. Senators shall be eligible for re-election. 46 says, immediately after the Senate shall have assembled following the elections prior to the coming into force of the Constitution or this Constitution, the senators shall be divided into 2 categories as a result of the vote cast in each county. The senator with the highest vote cast shall, this have been worked on, so it is not in line any longer, so they are equal. The senators with the highest votes cast shall be the senator of the first category, and the senator with the lower vote cast shall be senator of the second category, provided that no 2 senators from a county shall be placed in the same category. Wow. So we still maintain the seat of senators of the first category shall be vacated at the expiration of the 9 years. In the interest of legislative continuity, the senators of the second category shall serve a first term of 6 years only after the first election. Thereafter, all senators shall be elected to serve a term of 9 years. Article 47 says, the Senate shall elect once every 6 years a president pro tempore who shall preside in the absence of the president of the Senate and such other officers as shall ensure the proper functioning of the Senate. The president pro temp and other officers so elected may be removed from office for cause by resolution of a 2/3 majority of the members of the Senate. Article 48 says, the House of Representatives shall be composed of members elected from a term of 6 years by the registered voters in each of the legislative constituency of the counties, but a member of the House of Representatives elected in a by-election to fill a vacancy created by death, resignation, expulsion, or otherwise shall be elected to serve only the remaining of the unexpired term of the office, like in the case of the late Munapeno Youngblood and that of Foko. Members of the House of Representatives shall be eligible for re-election. Article 49 says, the House of Representatives shall elect once every 6 years a speaker who shall be the presiding officer of that body, a deputy speaker, and such other officers as shall ensure the proper functioning of the House. The Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, and other officers so elected may be removed from office for cause by resolution of a 2/3 majority of the members of the House. So that's that for the legislative branch of government. We go over to the executive. The executive is found in Article 50. The executive power of the Republic shall be vested in the President, who shall be head of state, head of government, and commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Liberia. The President shall be elected by universal adult suffrage of registered voters in the Republic and shall hold office for a term of 6 years, commencing at noon on the 3rd working Monday in January of the year immediately following the elections. No person shall serve as president for more than 2 terms. Now you listen. No person shall serve as president for more than 2 terms. Article 51. There shall be a vice president who shall assist the president in the discharge of his functions. The vice president shall be elected on the same political ticket and shall serve the same terms of the president. The vice president shall be president of the Senate and preside over its deliberation without the right to vote, except in the case of a tie vote. He shall attend meetings of the cabinet. He shall attend meetings of the cabinet and other governmental meetings, and shall perform such functions as the president shall delegate or demand appropriate, provided that no powers sufficiently vested in the president by the previous or provision of this constitution shall be delegated to the vice president. So they do not have equal powers. Article 52 says, no person shall be eligible to hold the office of president or vice president unless that person is a natural born Liberian citizen of not less than 35 years of age, the owner of a commercial real estate value at not less than $25,000 and resident in the Republic 10 years prior to his election, provided that the president and the vice president shall not come from the same county. 35, that's Article 53A. The president and the vice president shall, before entering on the execution of the duties of their respective offices, take a solemn oath of affirmation to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the Republic, and faithfully execute the duties of the office. The oath of affirmation shall be administered in joint conversation, that's joint convention of both houses of the legislature by the Chief Justice, or in his absence, the most senior Associate Justice. B. In an emergency where the Chief Justice and the Associate Justices are not available, such oath of affirmation shall be administered by the judge of a subordinate court of record. 54. Article 54 says, the president shall nominate and, with the consent of the Senate, appoint and commission A. Cabinet ministers, deputy and assistant cabinet ministers. B. Ambassadors, ministers, consuls, and C. The Chief Justice and Associate Justices of the Supreme Court and judges of subordinate courts. C. Superintendent, other county officials, and officials of other political subdivisions. D. Members of the military from the rank of lieutenant or its equivalent and above. And E. Marshal, deputy marshal, and sheriff. Article 55. The president shall appoint and commission notaries public and justice of the peace, who shall hold office for a term of 2 years, but may be removed by the president for cause. They shall be eligible for reappointment. Article 56 A. All cabinet ministers, deputy and assistant cabinet ministers, ambassadors, ministers, and council superintendents of counties and other government officials, both military and civilian, appointed by the president pursuant to this constitution, shall hold their offices at the pleasure of the president. B. There shall be election of paramount, client, and town chiefs by the registered voters in their respective localities to serve for a term of 6 years. They may be re-elected and may be removed only by the president for proved misconduct.
the legislature shall enact laws to provide for their qualifications as may be required. Article 57. The president shall have the power to conduct the foreign affairs of the republic, and in the connection he is empowered to conclude treaties, convention, and similar international agreements with the concurrence of a majority of the House of the Legislature. Article 58. The president shall, on the 4th working Monday in January of each year, present the administration's legislative programs for the ensuing session, and shall once a year report to the legislature on the state of the republic. In presenting the economic condition of the republic, the report shall cover expenditures as well as incomes. 59, Article 59, the president may remit any public forfeiture and penalties, suspend and fines and sentence, grant reprieves and pardon, and restore civil rights after conviction for all public offenses except impeachment. Article 60, the president, that's the president and the vice president, shall receive salaries which shall be determined by the legislature and be paid by the republic. Such salaries shall be subject to taxes as defined by the law, and shall neither be increased nor diminished during the period for which the president and vice president shall have been elected. Article 61. The president shall be immune from any suits. You can't sue the president for any suits, actions, or proceedings, judicial or otherwise, and from arrest, detention, or other actions on account of any act done by him while president of Liberia, pursuant to any provision of this Constitution or any other law of the Republic. The president shall not, however, be immune from prosecution upon removal from office for the commission of any criminal act done while president. Article 67, like for instance, the case of former President Weah, when he was the president of this republic, there was no lawsuit. There should have been no lawsuit of which that could have taken him to court or so. Nothing like that. But now that he is no longer the president, that Article 61 doesn't cover him any longer. He can be sued, and he can sue at the moment. He can be sued and he can sue. So the presidency is no longer in his purview, so he can be sued and he can also sue. Article 62. The president and the vice president may be removed from office by impeachment for terrorism, bribery, and other felonies, violation of the Constitution, or gross misconduct. Article 63. A. Whenever a person elected to the office of the president dies or is otherwise incapacitated before being inaugurated into office, the vice president elect shall succeed to the office of president, and this occasion shall commence a term. B. Whenever the office of the president shall become vacant by reason of death, resignation, impeachment, or the president shall be declared incapable of carrying out the duties and functions of his office, the vice president shall succeed to the office of the president to complete the unexpired term. In such a case, this shall not constitute a term. So that means
like the way former President Taylor turned over to his the late Moses Blah. He did not end his term, so Moses Blah ended the term. So that was not captured on Moses Blah. He could go if the next election where Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf came into power, if Moses Blah would have won, the term he served that time, the unexpired term for former President Taylor, wouldn't have been counted on him. So he would have carried the 6 year if he would have won the election, go for another 6 year. So that one where he served in was not going to be counted on him. All right. So now C says, the legislature shall no later than 1 year after the coming into force of this constitution prescribe the guidelines and determine the procedures under which the president by reason of illness shall be declared incapable or carry out the function of his office. D. Whenever the office of the vice president becomes vacant by reason of death, resignation, impeachment, inability, or otherwise, the president shall without delay nominate a candidate who, with the concurrence of both houses of the legislature, shall be sworn in and hold office as vice president. And this happened in the case of former President Taylor when how to call him, sir? Doko passed. That's how came in Moses Blah. So just to give you a clear understanding of what this part of the law is saying to us, the Constitution. All right. The House of Legislature shall be sworn in and hold office as vice president until the next general elections are held. Whenever the vice president elect dies, resigns, or is incapacitated before being inaugurated, the president elect on the same ticket with him shall, after being inaugurated into office, nominate without delay a candidate who, with the concurrence of both houses of the legislature, shall be sworn in and hold office as vice president until the next general elections are held. 64. Whenever the office of the president and vice president shall become vacant by reason of removal, death, resignation, inability, or other disability of the president and vice president, the Speaker of the House of Representatives shall be sworn in as acting president until the holding of elections to fill the vacancy so created. Should the Speaker be legible, incapable, or otherwise unable to assume the office of acting president, then the same shall devolve upon the president pro tempore of the Senate. In any further lines of descent, the office shall devolve in order upon the deputy speaker and members of the cabinet in the order of proceedings as established by law. The election commission shall within 90 days conduct election for a new president and a new vice president. Wow. So this business is all time by enjoying the thing by when you read the Constitution, enlightening your mind, it gives you clear understanding. And I hope this is helping a lot of us because we go to our tire shops, we argue on things that we are not reading in it, yes. So if you have some input to make, you can call 087-105-105, 077-866-5073. This is the Positive Show that we told you today, a Laying Back Friday, where we will be providing education on our Constitution and our constitutional rights. So that's what we're doing here, reading out the constitutions, the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia, and providing you those articles that you need to understand. All right. So Article 65 of the Constitution talks about the judiciary. All right. So it says The judicial power of the Republic shall be vested in the Supreme Court and such subordinate courts as the legislature may from time to time establish. The court shall apply both statutory and customary laws in accordance with the standards enacted by the legislature. Judgment of the Supreme Court shall be final and binding and shall not be subject to appeal or review by any other branch of government. Nothing in this article shall prohibit administrative consideration of the justiciable matter prior to review by a court of competent jurisdiction. Article 66. The Supreme Court shall be the final arbiter of constitutional issues and shall exercise final appellate jurisdiction in all cases, whether emanating from courts of record, courts not of record, administrative agencies, autonomous agencies, or any other authority, both as to law and facts, except cases involving ambassadors, ministers, or cases in which a county is a party. In all such cases, the Supreme Court shall exercise originate jurisdiction. The legislature shall make no law nor create any exceptions as would deprive the Supreme Court of any of the power granted herein. Article 67 states, the Supreme Court shall comprise of one Chief Justice and 4 Associate Justices, a majority of whom shall be deemed competent to transact the business of the court. If a quorum is not obtained to enable the court to hear any case, to hear any case, oh my God, to hear any case, a circuit judge in the order of seniority shall sit as an ad hoc justice of the Supreme Court, an ad hoc justice of the Supreme Court. Article 68. The Chief Justice and Associate Justices of the Supreme Court shall, with the consent of the Senate, be appointed and commissioned by the President, provided that any person so appointed shall be a citizen of Liberia and of good moral character, and be a counselor of the Supreme Court bar who has practiced for at least 5 years. Like in the case of Nobodiki, during the regime of former President Weah, the Nobodiki issue came up where his citizenship, he said he must be a citizen of Liberia and of good moral character. So we had that thing around here during the regime of former President George Weah. Article 69, shortly we wind down. Article 69, the judges of subordinate courts or of records shall, with the consent of the Senate, be appointed and commissioned by the President, provided that any person so appointed shall be a citizen of Liberia and good moral character, and an attorney at law who have practiced for at least 3 years, or a counselor of the Supreme Court bar. All right. So we will start to 70. Then next Friday we will continue. We will be doing it like this so that we enlighten your minds on the Constitution, because it is important that we introduce the teaching of civics and the teaching of our Constitution in our schools, so that we get to know our fundamental rights. So let's read you Article 70. Then we call it a day on today's edition of the program. The Chief Justice and the Associate Justices of the Supreme Court and all justices of subordinate courts shall, before assuming the functions of their office, subscribe to a solemn oath of affirmation to discharge faithfully and impartially the duties and functions of their office, and to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the Republic. The oath or affirmation shall be administered by the President or his designee. All right. So that does it for the first portion. We start to Article 70. Next Friday, God willing, we'll be around here. We'll take you through from 70 onward to the other articles until we can continue or conclude with the Constitution. And we'll in time chip in with the teaching of civics as well, because the radio, now people don't know, as a media practitioner, we have the sole responsibility to inform our people adequately. We have the sole responsibility to entertain, educate, and inform. So this is one of our functions that I'm exercising this morning by giving you education. A lot of us, we don't know about the Constitution and these provisions within the Constitution. By us enlightening your mind this morning, you are now aware of certain things that you did not know. So we say thank you so much for following us. We appreciate your following, and we look forward to another conversation with you. As always, follow our programs, like and share our page, Love TV Live. Follow us online wherever you are across the world. Just log on to loveradioonline.com. You will get us right in time. My name is Rufus Divine Cannon. Like I always say to you, 2 things in this life you always be remembered for: the problems you create and the problems you solve. And you must take responsibility of 2 things in your life: your fortune and that of your misfortune. We must have this so constant to our mind. When the minds are developed, the eyes will appreciate the works of the hands. If Liberia is to be developed, we must firstly develop our minds. A hint to our wise is quite sufficient. The one who has ears, let him hear. Have you and yours a pleasant and a godly day. Follow the rest of our broadcast. We appreciate you doing business with us, and you will be glad that you did. Have yourselves a wonderful day. Bye-bye.